Good morning, everybody. Let me make sure we are set up here. I was right on time, which bothers me because I like to be a little bit early. Okay. Let me see if we got volume here. Yep, we got volume. Oh, I'm going to plug in my microphone. That should help tremendously. That should perk things up a bit. Let me try it again now. Just a second. Y'all hang in there with me. Let's see. This is how a live chat works. Okay. We got volume. Oh, I'm going to plug in my microphone. Just so I check out this morning, Dale. That should perk things up a bit. Let me try it again. Okay. Hey, Renita. Hey, Dale. How are y'all? Hey, Donna. Donna, can you hear me okay? I had to plug in my microphone afterwards. I shudder to ask that question, can you hear me okay? Because that's the number one problem in lives is people will say they can't hear, and 9 times out of 10, 9.5 times, it's something on your end. So adjust the volume on your computer, adjust the volume on your phone, whatever if you can't hear. So I'm assuming y'all can hear me. Donna, let me know when you get a chance, please. And morning, Lisa. How are you? Y'all, I was running a little late today. I got caught up in writing my notes and stuff. Okay, cool. Donna can hear me okay. And I didn't realize I got carried away. So I was running a little late. I bought out some little, try to make it a little prettier for y'all out here. It's probably going to end up just looking like a funeral home. But thank you, Dale. Thank y'all. Okay, cool. So, hey, Christy, how you doing? Good morning, everybody. Morning, Lynn. We have so much to talk about today. I'm really excited. Let me get I got some hot tea here. You have to kind of, it's pressurized. It ends up being pressurized. And so I was holding it away so I could burp it a bit. So it wouldn't splash up in my face. I know this from personal experience. I am drinking Irish breakfast right now. What are y'all having? Chilly Kansas. Yes, it's a little chillier in Alabama than I would prefer. I was hoping to be able to do this outside with y'all, but I think it's in the 40s right now, and I just, thank you, Melanie. I didn't think I had it within me to be outside. And oops, sorry, I'm trying to get this squared away here in 40-something degree weather. I was afraid my teeth would start chattering on me. We've had, wow, what a wonderful few weeks we've had. I mean, how amazing. The Father has brought together this huge group of people. Everybody's reading the Word. I so appreciate everybody who comments on the thread each morning, even if it's just a good morning. It's so good to be able to put names and faces and to know you're here. If you don't comment on the threads are there for saying good morning, greetings, asking questions, discussions. If you've been a little shy about that, please don't be. We are a loving, supporting, and encouraging group of people, and we want to know that you're here. So as of now, like when we started the threads, there were, I think, 4,000 comments that first day. It has died down a lot. And so if you were scared off, then come back. It's okay. It's safe to come out. Tragically, as we continue on reading, there will be fewer and fewer people. More and more people will fall away. And that is just, we'll talk about that some more. That's the stuff of life, you know. He is steadfast. The Father is steadfast, and we unfortunately tend to not be, especially when it comes to Him. So this is bothering me because I'm seeing this slant, and that's bothering me. I'm in our RV right now. So anyway, I want to start with a little bit of encouragement for y'all. Let's get the housekeeping out of the way. If you get behind, when you get behind, everybody at some point will get behind. You will have something that comes up in life, something that comes up with work, whatever. When you get behind, don't tell yourself now there's two things you can do. Number one is you can dive right back in where we are, or you can try to play catch up. I want to tell you, let's do a combination of both, if anything. Number one, dive right back in where we are. When you get behind, start where we are. Don't tell yourself that you have to go get caught up and you're behind. And you have to get, that's a trap. That is a trap, because let me tell you what's going to happen. You're going to be overwhelmed at the thought of having to get caught up. You're going to be overwhelmed and feel like, oh, I'm falling behind. Oh, I can't take part in the discussion. Oh, I'm further behind. Oh, and eventually you're going to feel like that train has left the station without you. And that is how you end up falling away from the reading plan. I will guarantee you that's 90% how it happens, how people fall away from the reading plan. That is a trap. And it is discouragement piles upon discouragement. And that's what the adversary does to get you out of the group, to get you to stop reading with the group. Now that you're in here, now that you've made that commitment, that's how he's going to frustrate you, is by trying to get you behind. So I want to encourage you. This is my suggestion. If you fall behind, dive right back in where we are, because you'll catch whatever you missed on the next go round. And the goal was never to read the Bible one time. The goal was to become daily Bible readers. And there's so much encouragement. There's such a great support system in moving forward with the group. And having those daily discussions, being able to read the discussion threads, keeping up with the notes every day, knowing that thousands and thousands of people are reading and studying what you're reading every day. And so I really want to encourage you, do not fall for the trap. Jump right back in where we are, okay? Having said that, if you miss like a day or two and you actually have time, you say, hey, it's Saturday, I'm going to devote the whole day to just reading the Word. On the homepage of Seeking Scripture, hopefully y'all have all noticed this now. If you go to seekingscripture.com, on the homepage up at the top right, I have the readings for the week for every day. You can click on it there. And underneath, I have a link to a catch-up thread that I update every week. So when I take the readings off to put the new readings for the next week, I take those readings and I add them to the bottom of the catch-up list. So you can use that. And while we're discussing that, if you have friends that you're recommending the Bible study to, that you want them to join and stuff, and they're going to read on their own online since the group membership is closed, please, please, please encourage them to start in Genesis. That's one of the greatest tragedies. It kills me how we have overlooked these foundational scriptures for so long. And y'all have seen, there's way much more to them than the animals going by twosy woozies. And so we really want to start encouraging people to stop piecemealing God, and stop treating him like he's a multiple choice question. We need all of God. These foundational scriptures are where he reveals himself to us, where he gets to know us, where he teaches us his character. I mean, they're foundational. These principles, these things we're learning, we're going to understand. We're building our framework. We're getting our lens with which to view the entirety of his word. And this is vital information. This is so important to us. And so if you have any friends who are starting, encourage them to begin in Genesis. And I have a link to that too in that box on the homepage. So if you send them there, tell them start in Genesis, you can go get that. Let me see what some of you are saying. Yes. Oh, thank you so much, Karen. I want to tell you a little something. I live in the Tennessee Valley, and the native people here used to call this Death Valley because of the allergies and stuff are so bad. So currently, my left eye is feeling very emotional today. I do this from time to time. So if you see me blotting tears from my left eye, I'm not upset. It's whatever's going on in the environment right now. Just wanted to tell y'all about that. Okay. Now, if you do, see, Sally says she's 2 days behind. If you're like 2 days behind, still, I would recommend, Sally, read our readings today. Catch up on those days you missed this weekend. Now, you can also print out the checklist. We have reading checklist, and that'll help you. Let's see if I have some of those. Yeah, I do have some here. That'll help you keep up with where you are. You can print them out. I like these. This is a book. These are 4 bookmarks, 4 per page. I like these because I stick them in my Bibles and stuff. And then there's also a whole page. I don't know if I have one of those. I don't think I do. There's a whole page you can print too. Sandy's eye's been leaking too. Yes, it's like, oh, thank you. I see Connie's trying to help somebody that's having an issue. Thank you, Connie. Y'all are so sweet. Oh, Patsy, thank you so much. See, now my left eye. It's like, Elizabeth is 2 days behind too. Y'all are funny. Okay, I want to tell you something else. Right now, by this time in the reading, a lot of people may be feeling overwhelmed because you realize how much there is to learn. And you think, wow, I've been a believer for 30 years, 40 years, 20 years, and I haven't studied any of this stuff, and there's so much to learn. And so that can cause you to feel overwhelmed, or it can cause you to feel excited. So I want to encourage you to flip that coin. If you're feeling overwhelmed, that's what the adversary wants you to feel. The Father wants you to feel excited because there's so much to learn. And it's so exciting to stand at the beginning of beginnings and to see, oh, that's a tree hitting. I was like, what is that sound? To see what all is before you and what all the Father is going to reveal to you. It's very exciting to know that you've been called here so that He can give you His truth and so that He can reveal Himself to you. And all these things you see that you have to learn, that's the wisdom that the Father wants to share with you. So instead of feeling overwhelmed, I want you to flip that coin and feel excited, okay? We're going to play the other side of that record instead. That's what the Father wants you to feel. Now, I also don't want you to feel like you have to get this all the first go-round. Because, no, we're drinking from a fire hose right now, okay? Take little sips. It's okay. We learn in layers, and the Father knows what He wants you to learn this go-round. So He's building that layer of knowledge for you. So don't feel like you have to get everything at once. People sometimes think that I have everything that you're reading memorized. No, I have so much Bible in my head at this point that when you ask me a question about the Bible or we have a Bible discussion, I have to kind of step out in a minute and be like, okay, wait a minute. And I have to get my brain back in that book and kind of build that framework again. And so it takes me a few minutes to kind of orient myself, and then I can have a conversation with you, which right now I'm at a distinct disadvantage right now because I'm not where you are in the Word, and I want to be, and I'm going to selfishly ask for prayer. I want prayer for me. I'm just going to tell you, I do feel selfish asking for that, but I feel honored when people allow me an opportunity to pray for them. So what I'm doing right now is I'm trying to get all the audio recorded, and I started recording audio we have one group that's almost finished. We have a separate group, and they're going to be joining this group. And that group started, Debbie Engel, the Father put it on her heart to start a group back in March, which is not our normal start time. But when the virus started kicking up and everything, there were a lot of people who felt very uncertain, and they were called to read the Word. And so she started a group, and she came and asked me, we started this group together, but she's the one doing the posting and stuff in there like I'm doing in this group because I wasn't able to do both at the time. So she kind of volunteered for that. And so she's running and managing that group. And they are finishing up. Goodness, where are they? Y'all tell me where you are in spring group right now. I think they're in John, but I could be wrong. I think they're in John. And so when I started recording audio, I'm recording for this group and that group at the same time. And so I have to record at least 2 to 4 a day just to kind of stay where I am. Well, I'm really not rushing, but I'm really working hard. That's a better way of saying it. Trying to get all the audio recordings done for their group so that all of my progress will go towards this, and I feel like I'm moving forward a little faster. And then I'll be able to make more headway. Right now it's kind of 1 step forward, 2 steps back. So I've recorded about 120, maybe 130 audio recordings so far in the last month. And I started the last week in December. And I've got 25 until I'm done with Revelation. And then I can go back and I can focus on where I am in this group. And I started in their group in Ezekiel. So eventually I'm going to meet myself in the middle. But I've got about a little less than 200 left to record. So I'm hoping, anyway, if y'all could just pray. I'm sorry. I'm rambling. That's where my mind is. But I want to be here focused on this with you, Holy. I want to be writing articles explaining certain things a little more. I want to be writing articles to encourage you. I want to be writing newsletters. I want to be doing videos to encourage you. My heart is in encouraging you. I tend to do that best through writing and chats like this and stuff. I really want to do a lot more writing. But right now I'm focused on this project, which I'm so grateful for. I'm grateful that we're able to do that. Another thing, if y'all don't realize, if you do listen to the audio with this group, each week I publish all those audio, all that in podcast form for the whole week. I do that on Sunday. So if you listen to podcast, it is available in podcast form anywhere that podcasts are available. So I think that's about all of my housekeeping. Thank y'all so much. I really appreciate that. Oh, thank you, Jack. Thank you so much. Thank you, Carol. Y'all are so sweet. Y'all mean a lot to me. Thank you. The Father has given me the desires of my heart. I love to encourage people in the Word. It has changed everything for me. It has given me life. His Word is life and truth, and it has just breathed that life into every corner of mine, and I want you to have that too. And so I just want to encourage people to read the Word, because I know what a difference it can make, and I know that we all need that difference. Okay, so I got several emails, and there was kind of a common theme of a few problems that we're going to talk about in the group today. Just a second. Okay, so number one, I want to talk about the biggest problem everyone in this group has right now. Everyone. I don't care if you're now some will be having this problem more than others, but the key is the difference in those who are having an easier time with this problem versus those who are having a harder time with this problem is that the problem's been diagnosed. That's the key. This morning I was reading, I read all kinds of things, and I was reading about different problems that people on ships had in the last several centuries. And one of the prevailing problems was a problem with scurvy. And, to begin with, scurvy, you can die easily of scurvy, but it's something you really don't hear about today, because we know the simple way to fix that and to avoid that. But until they knew that, people were just dying left and right, and a ship could lose over half of their crew to scurvy, and they didn't even know what was causing it. They couldn't figure it out. So they just have more crew because they knew half of them's going to die. Then you find out the solution is you need vitamin C. You need fresh fruits and vegetables. So it was a really simple fix, Now it may not have been as simple to apply, but you know what I'm talking about. So I feel like we need to diagnose our problems, and we need to be able to face them so that we can come up with a solution. So here's the biggest problem that we have when we, in this year, in our culture and in our time, go to apply ourselves to the Word and go to read the Word, and that is our mindset. So the people that we're reading about, whether they be worshipers of the one true God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, or whether they be idolaters who worshipped several different gods at once, they had a mindset back then, and we'll refer to that as the Hebrew mindset. Now, that was a God-centered mindset. In our time, we have a me-centered mindset. So, as a result, we tend to walk this line very haphazardly between asking questions of God and questioning God. Instead of looking at we examine Him and we hold Him to our standards instead of holding ourselves to His standards. So, our bad habit is that we tend to question God first rather than questioning man. And that's the world's teaching. We treat the Father as if He is our servant, as if He answers to us. And we've got to reorient our mind so that we realize He is the source of wisdom, not us. It's okay to ask Him questions, but until we hold Him in proper reverence, we tend to question Him instead. And we're never really going to understand it that way. We've got to get off the throne. we've got to get off the throne. And I truly think most of us do not realize we do that. And even though we may have been in the Word and holding Him in reverence for a very long period of time, as humans, we do have a tendency to slide back on that throne from time to time. Now, only one person can sit on that throne. So, just so you know, it's not going to work. But if we decide to be our own gods, and if we decide to follow our own wisdom, He'll let us. He will let us, just so we can see how that works. You know, if you have a child and you say, don't touch the stove is hot. Don't touch the stove is hot. And they continually go in there and like, I'm going to touch it. I'm going to touch it. I'm going to Eventually, what are you going to do? What is a good parent going to do? You're going to let that kid touch the stove. And what do you always say? They'll do it one time. One time. Well, we're far more stubborn and stiff-necked than that. But it is important to know that. Now, He does not answer to us. We answer to Him. But some people will not be able to move past this until you get this in your mind that He is God and we are not. Until you stop using yourself as a straight edge and trying to make Him line up, you will not understand. This is going to be a big stumbling block. This is going to be a big impediment. And it may take you a while to get that. And that's okay. That's okay. It may take you a while to begin to see and begin to understand. You know, we have these blocks in our vision. We have these scales before our eyes. And sometimes it may be a struggle to remove them. Sometimes when the Father's trying to remove them, we're trying to hold them. And we're grasping hold of them. Sometimes He drops those scales and we pick them right back up and put them back on. It's okay to struggle with that. It is okay to struggle with that. And I want you to know that it's okay to struggle out loud with that in this group. We've been there. We understand. We want to encourage you. We want to help you. He has been very patient with us. It is such a small thing for us to be patient with others. In light of how much grace He's shown us, how easy is it for us to show grace to others, you know? So don't worry about that. Don't worry about judgment or condemnation in the group. What I'm trying to tell you to do is, this is a struggle for everybody. Make sure you struggle it out with Him. Don't just continue on as if this is the way to be. Realize, hey, Father, okay, I realize that I'm trying to hold you to the world's standards instead of holding the world's to your standards. I realize that I'm trying to make you answer to me instead of me answering to you. And I want you to help me mature beyond that. Now, and keep in mind, I'm not saying that you will ever get to a point where you don't struggle with this. But I want us to realize what's causing the scurvy so we can start adjusting our diet appropriately. We need to be careful not to critique or direct God. But we have a natural tendency to do that, and that's okay. But we need to kind of start realizing, we need to start moving towards He is God, we are not. And right now, what may seem like a fine line between asking questions of God and questioning God, at the start it seems like a fine line. And we have to kind of, oh, did I tiptoe into that? Did I go too far? The further you get in the Word, the longer you have the habit of meeting Him daily in the Word, of making a date with the Father and not standing Him up, of showing up every day for Him like He shows up every day for you, what seems like a fine line is going to become a bigger and bigger chasm. And you'll be able to see the difference. Like, oh, wait a minute, So we have to learn to adjust our mindset. Right now, in this world teaches us to have a me-centered mindset. And that's the Greek Western mindset. We want to develop that Hebrew mindset, whereas a God-centered mindset. And even the people we're reading about who were pagans, who were worshiping multiple idols and things, they still had a God-centered mindset for the most part. Far more than we do, at least. So I hope that makes sense to y'all. Let me see what some people are saying before I move on to my next point. Yes, it's humility. He must increase, I must decrease. Absolutely. It's humility. A lot of people post 2 Chronicles 7:14, and it says, if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and turn from their ways, then I'll hear their prayers and I'll heal their land. but we like to just focus on that. I'll hear their prayers. I'll heal their land. But there was an if. And we will discuss this a lot. Moving forward, you'll see me introduce this concept. I don't think I've introduced it yet at these notes, but it's an if-then statement, and we need to pay very close attention to the if-then. We always want the then without the if, and the if calls on us to do something, so the then will happen. So in that case, if we want our prayers heard and our land healed, then we need to, the if part is, we need to humble ourselves and turn from our ways. And in reading the Bible every day, we're learning to turn from our ways and learning to turn to His ways. First, we have to know what His ways are. Because honestly, truly, until we read the Bible, we don't know what His ways are. We know what someone tells us His ways are. We know what someone represents His ways to be. There's no such thing as a secondhand relationship with the Father. And there's no such thing as a secondhand relationship with His Word. So we gotta get our minds wrapped around that. Yes, Donna says He doesn't take time off for us. That's always something that gets me every year. I always find it makes me chuckle a bit because I've been there. Okay, when we first start doing the Bible study, especially if we start like on a Monday or something. I think this year we started on a weekend, so I didn't really hear this much. But if we start on a Monday, people will be like, oh my goodness, I'm having to read the Bible. This is more than I've ever read the Bible before, and they're kind of shell-shocked, when in reality it's like 30 minutes a day. We get to Friday and I post the weekend readings. Now, we're going to read on the weekends too. I think, we're going to read, we're going to show up for Him every day that He's our God. We're going to be His child. He don't take no days off from us. Let's see. Yes. Kim says, when we keep reminding ourselves that He is first above anything else, our priorities start to line up with His. Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Yes, okay. I'm caught up now. So I had a very, a heartbreaking question, and we're going to talk about something that is probably very painful I think all of us has probably experienced it at some point, and so we're going to delve into that now. Eventually, at the end of this, we're going to talk about shofars. I got my shofar with me. I have my daughter's shofar. Hers is in a nice little bag because she's an organized one. And I brought my husband's shofar too. So we're going to talk about shofars at the end of this. But I'm trying to wait. I'm giving my neighbors time to get woke up a little more. Shofars are loud. Sounds like a dying moose roaming through the neighborhood. Okay, so I had a question from one of our family members here. And know that if you're here, we do consider you family. We do love you. And I always like to remind you from time to time that, we are from all walks of the faith. You will see every denomination under the sun in here. And that's okay. Because the goal here is not to get you to walk out your faith like any of us walk out our faith. The goal here is not any of us seeking to be right, but seeking what is right. And we come before the Father, and He made all the colors in the rainbow, and He made all of us. And we're of one accord in many things. And we love and encourage one another in the Word. And that's exciting. That's exciting. I also want to encourage you, if you're here and you're excited about the Word and you're excited about reading the Word like you've never read before and you're really getting into it, it's changing your life and you're seeing how much you've missed, go talk about that. Talk about the Word. Let's be Bible people. Let's be lovers of the Word. Let's be known as people who love the Father's Word. It should bleed over into every conversation we have. I love the Word. Have you been reading the Bible? Somebody asks you for a question. You know what? I wonder what the Bible says about that. Let's see. The Bible should be in every... God's Word is within us. It should exhale every time we breathe out God's Word. And so get other people excited about the Word. That's your job, okay? I don't know how people make it in this world today without God's Word. Very badly. I will tell you. We manage very badly without His Word. So yeah. Okay, so I had a question, and it was from a reader who asked about in Exodus 20, I can't think of where it is. Oh, Exodus, okay, here we go. Exodus 20, verses 6 through 7. You shall not bow down to them or serve them, for I, Yahweh your God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers on the children to the third and fourth generation of those who hate me, but showing steadfast love to thousands to those who love me and keep my commandments. And so she has a son who has a very difficult disability. And she asked if that might have had to do with this curse that the Father's talking about. And so the first thing I want to bring you to is, this is in John, and I don't have the verse. One of y'all is going to be awesome and look this up for me. I'm thinking it's in John 9, but I don't know. Maybe John 7 or John 9. Somebody look this up. But this is when Messiah was walking the earth. As he went along, he saw a man blind from birth. His disciples asked him, Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind? And he answered, neither this man nor his parents sinned, but this happened so that the works of God might be displayed in him. As long as it is day, we must do the works of him who sent me. Night is coming when no one can work. While I am in the world, I am the light of the world. And so I just want to say a couple things. First of all, he is the God who sees you. You're not alone. He sees the struggle. He sees the pain, and he feels the anguish in your mother's heart. Okay? In your heart as a mother is what I mean by that. I want to talk about these curses in the Bible, and I want to relate it to something in modern times so that I think we can understand it a little better. Generational curses. When someone chooses a life apart from the Father, when they choose a life in rebellion to the Father's wisdom, one of the ways I like to illustrate this that I think helps us kind of understand and how it curses our children is, let's say a father is an alcoholic and an abusive person. In our time, we call these generational curses, we refer to them as cycles of abuse. So a father who is an abusive alcoholic, he's in this house, and thank you, Myra. Thank you for all y'all who posted that verse. He's living with his family. He's yelling. He's abusing them. He's teaching them that this is how a father's relationship with his children works. They're angry. They're hurt. They're going to turn to alcohol. They're going to see how, okay, this dulls it for a little bit. They don't know how to have a healthy relationship with their children, and so they may repeat that behavior. What's going to happen to their children? They're in the same situation they were in. They'll repeat that behavior. What's going to happen to their children? They're in the same situation. They'll repeat that behavior. Now, I want to say, you notice, we all know people who have had these abusive upbringings or been in these bad situations, and it causes them to go in the opposite direction. They choose a different life. They choose life. Deuteronomy 30:19, I think. Y'all tell me if I'm right. They choose life. So, always one of the principles we will see in the Bible over and over is a culture, a people, a nation may be making a choice and going against the Father consistently, but the individual always has a choice. So that's how I think of generational curses, is that our sin affects our children. Likewise, our choices to follow the Father, He blesses those to the 1,000th generation. When I was a little girl, my mom had a very difficult childhood, and she always looked for the blessings. She always looked for something to be positive about. She always looked for the good things. She would tell me, whenever you have it really hard, always look for somebody who has it worse than you and find a way to help them. You know, she always changed the focus. Okay? So I tend to have that habit when that's what I do naturally to my kids. They'll complain about something, but isn't it great that you have this, that? I mean, I don't even think about it. It's just ingrained in me to change that. I call it changing your soundtrack. And so I'm always doing that with my kids because my mother has taught me that through her behavior, through her choosing life. She's taught me to do that. Now, Later on in our reading, we will talk further about generational curses. I will tell you that my sister and I, because of our mother's faithfulness, because of our mother's choice, her choosing life, her choosing the Father's wisdom over the world's wisdom, we're the first generation to come out of a generational curse. So that's something very personal to me. And I can look and show you the exact behavior that I have extended family who have chosen. Each generation has to make a choice when it comes to life or death, curses or blessings. Each generation makes a choice. And there are many in this generation in my family line who have chosen the curse. And my sister and I have chosen the blessing. And that's a hard thing to face. That's a hard thing to talk about. It's a lot more in depth than I can here in this little chat. But no, your son is not the result of anything that you've done. God does not, he doesn't want anyone to suffer. Okay? The further we get away from the garden, we're going to have more and more health issues. And there's been a lot of choices of man that man has made that has led to even more health issues from that. But I just want you to know that no, you're not being punished for anything. This is not, God did not do this to punish you. So just, we will be praying for you, be praying for your heart to have peace, and we'll be praying for this struggle. And I'm not going to mention a name or anything, but I want all of y'all to pray for her this week. I want us to pray for everybody in this group who's struggling. Essentially, pray for everybody in this group because we're all struggling. We all have struggles and trials that we're dealing with the best we can, and we are learning to glean from His stream, from His source, rather than our own strength, because that's what we need. Our strength fails us. His strength is infinite, and so we have to learn to lean towards that. So y'all, let's pray specifically for her and for the rest of the group. Thank you for that. Let's go to the next question. I had a really interesting question asking, there was a specific verse they cited in the Bible that we've read recently, and they wanted to know if it was Messiah being spoken of. And so we're going to talk about that. Let me get a little more drink here just a second. We're going to talk about that. First of all, yes, it could be, but we don't know for sure. So there's going to be a lot of times in the Bible where you'll see like 3 men or an angel of the Lord, and people think, oh, that could be Messiah. Is that Messiah? Yes, it could be, but we don't know for sure. And we need to be very careful not to say that anything definitively is if the Father doesn't definitively tell us that it is. But this brought another good topic, that it was something that I used to do. And so I like to share my struggles with you because I feel like we all very much have kind of the same struggles. So there is a teaching that is very much alive in a lot of the church today. And we're going to study more about it as we move on. If you want to learn about it now, you can look up a man named Marcion of Sinope, I believe is how you pronounce it. So it's Marcionism. Many Christians today believe, because they've been taught, that Messiah superseded the Father. Basically dethroned the Father. Even though repeatedly he told us he didn't, and repeatedly he points to the Father and points to the Father and points to the Father. But a lot of people tend to think, they're kind of scared of the God of the Old Testament because of this whole, it really goes back to Marcionism, which teaches that there are 2 gods in the Bible. It teaches that the Old Testament God is a different God, and he's mean and angry. And the New Testament God is Messiah, and he's just a God of love who says, you just live however you want, and I'm just going to love you, and you just love other people, and it's all good. So you see, the thing is, we need to obey this God, but now this God came and defeated that God, and we don't have to obey anymore. Of course, we know, now that we've been reading the Word, we know that there's one God. There's one true God. And he's always been a God of grace from the very beginning. Now, you may struggle with that through some of the texts we read coming up, but keep reading. Always keep reading. But let me read just a second. Let me see what I wanted to make sure I said here. Okay. I want you to make sure not to get so busy looking for Messiah in this text, which, by the way, he's here from the beginning. Okay, Messiah is throughout the whole Bible. But don't get so busy looking for him that we overlook this opportunity to get to know our Father better. Because it's like, look at it this way. Now, this is not Marcionism, but in this part of the word, the spotlight is on the Father. Spotlight's on him. This is his time. Okay, he's up on that stage and the light's on him. And he's teaching us, and he's leading us, and he's revealing his character. He's revealing what he expects of us. He's telling us how to live. This is our creator. He created us. So it's like the person who invented the car is now telling you how a car works and how to drive that car. Okay? So we really need to pay attention to these foundational scriptures because this is his time. He's up there. This is his time. Now, later on, man is going to come in as expected and take what he taught us and walk it out in ways that he never told us to walk it out. And in fact, he warned us not to walk it out that way. So what's going to happen? Messiah is going to come on stage. Spotlight's going to be on him. And he's going to say, okay, I'm here in human form, and I'm going to show you how to walk out the Father's teachings. So right now we need to focus on learning those teachings, and then Messiah's going to come in and show us how to walk it out. So right now, let's keep our eyes on him, okay? Because in our former lives, before we applied ourselves and dedicated ourselves to studying the Word, we may have felt like we needed Messiah. Well, first of all, we need Messiah. Do not take what I just said out as a soundbite. But we may have felt like Messiah was the only one in the Bible who was relevant to us. Like, the Father was too far removed. We didn't understand him, so he wasn't relevant. But now we know that every word the Father says is relevant to us. We know that he's the source of wisdom, and we know that we need him. We do not have to try to look for something else around him. It's kind of like if you were coming to my house, if I invited you to dinner, and you were coming to my house, and so I spent all day making this big dinner. By the way, we're having homemade banana pudding for dessert. And I set my table so pretty for you, and I was so excited about you coming. I'm watching the driveway. I see your car pull up, and I'm so excited because you're here, because I've got all this ready for you. I have this beautiful meal laid out before you. And you rush through the door. I've got my arms open wide, ready to come in for the hug, people. And you rush in the door, and you say, "Where's Brady?" Brady's my son. "Where's Brady?" And I'm like, "Wait, Brady will be here in a minute. Come here. I made this food." "No, where's Brady?" Okay, y'all. Now, don't get me wrong. There ain't nothing wrong with looking for Messiah in this word because he's here. He is here. But I don't want us to miss what the Father is saying to us and what he's imparting to us, because in our modern mindset, we think it's somehow not relevant to us. You're gonna want all this information. And I promise you that when we get to the Gospels, when Messiah comes, oh man, I know y'all love Jesus now. Okay, I get that. But you get ready, because your heart is going to burst when you realize so much of what he did. So much more. I mean, it's so much more than you realize. When you have this foundational knowledge, it is so much more than you realize. So hang in there, because you are going to, it's going to knock your socks off. Oh, thank you so much, Megan. She says she loves the examples I share. They help it make so much more sense. Thank you. I appreciate that, because I tend to teach through telling stories. And I know I worry that sometimes people are going to be like, can she not just get the mail without having to go around the block to get to the mailbox? But that's how I learn. I want to give you things that you can relate it to. So I hope that makes sense. Yes. Okay, good. All right. Now we get to the easy stuff. Hey, Chuck, how are you? Yes, that's perfect. Okay, I'm reading some of y'all's stuff. Now we get to the the shofar stuff, okay? Now, I've had a lot of people ask me about if y'all saw me blow my shofar. I've blown it in this group a couple times. I'm going to start doing it more because I think it's interesting. This is a shofar. Most of the time in the Bible, when they talk about blowing trumpets, like when they're going around Jericho and things like that, this is what they're blowing. And when Messiah comes back, this is the sound we're going to hear. And so a lot of people will tell you they feel like their soul recognizes it. Thank you, Valerie. I'm so glad. Let's see. Yes, Melody says, having the foundational text provides so many mic drops by the Messiah. Absolutely. Y'all are going to be so glad you studied all this when we get to the Gospels. You just don't even know. Thank you, Sue. Yes, absolutely. Kathy says, do you think God thought, I'm going to show them so much more when I send them my son? I think it's probably about like I am now. Like, y'all, hang in there, read this, because you ain't going to understand that till you get, but yeah, absolutely. Oh, Jill, she says, if you're going to blow the shofar, give me a heads up so I can take my earbuds out. I will. I'll let y'all know. I'll give you a warning. So this is the shofar. I have a link up above that links to my little Amazon favorite shop, and I have a shofar in there all of my shofars came from Amazon. There's more. You can get them from Israel. You can get them from different people. This is about $100 shofar. I've had this one for maybe 4 years. And a lot of people, when they saw me blow my shofar, there were some comments. Oh, I bet she was a trumpet player. I bet. No. No, let me tell you something. I want to tell you the process of blowing this thing. When I first got this shofar, I couldn't make a single sound out of it for probably, my goodness, close to a year. And then it took me another year just to be able to work up the lung capacity to blow more than once a day. Like, it took so much, So I have been, let's see, in March, I started blowing the shofar every day at sunset. That was something that I committed to do. I even have a Facebook group called Shofars at Sunset with other people that's committed to do that. We felt like it's something the Father called us to do. And the shofar really is, it's almost like it's a cry out to the Father. He tells us to blow them in times of joy, to celebrate different feasts and things. Also when we're crying out to Him. We'll read more about them as we go through the Word. There's one feast that's dedicated to just blowing your shofars. It's a lot of fun. We'll do that in here. We did it last year. So this is literally, you see, there's no mouthpiece or anything in this. It's just kind of a hole drilled in there. And this is mine. Now, I have been, when I started blowing every day in March, it got a lot better. This is my daughter's. And it's about, I need to move my camera back a little. Let me move my camera back a little. Oh, goodness. Okay. This is my daughter's. This is mine. I think mine may be a little bit larger. And this is my husband's. And they do all look different to us. Let me get my husband's out of the bag. But I will tell you that the one you get used to is the easiest one to blow. This is Ricky's. Ricky's is the shiniest, and it's the curliest too. So I was going to show you how, when I first started, I could barely make any noise. Now I have 2 notes. That's all I can do. I can do 2 notes, but I can do 2 notes fairly well. And the way you blow a shofar, I had to figure this out too, because I had never played a trumpet or anything like that. I always hear that people who play trumpets and things have an easier time blowing shofars. My son used to play French horn, and I have not got him to try to blow a shofar yet. I've tried and tried. I've offered to buy him one. He won't do it. So, the way you blow a shofar is you basically make a raspberry. And you're going to feel ridiculous. So you do like this and go like that. Now, I have found that blowing more air changes the note, and changing the movement of my bottom lip, how I let the air go out, changes the note as well. But yes, there's hope for you. If you can't make any noise, there's hope. You just commit to it. When I was first trying to do it, I would blow once a day. I would try blowing my shofar once a day. And that was about all the wind I had in me. And now I can do a lot more. But I want to show you. Let me get mine here. I'm going to get these confused and Ricky's just going to die. Katie's is a white tip. I'm going to show you mine. So Jill, take your earbuds out. I'm going to blow on mine real quick. And then I'm going to show you, I haven't tried to blow Ricky's and Katie's, and I don't know if I can blow there. So I want to show y'all the difference. When you get used to one, like this is my shofar. This is the shofar I can blow. So when you get used to this, I don't know that I can blow theirs because the mouthpiece is different on every one of them. It's not a mouthpiece actually. It's just the hole is different. So let me show you. This is Ricky's fancy one. See if I can get these in here. You see there, I can't show, I'm not that coordinated. But it's very different. And Katie's is very different. And I doubt I can even blow in there. So take your earbuds out. I'm going to try blowing this. I'll probably mess it up because I'm trying to blow it live. And you know that's what we're going to do, right? All right. A little loud, ain't it? So, hey, Tammy. Now let me see if I can blow on Ricky's. This is Katie's, sorry. I don't know if I can blow this one. This is somebody else's shofar. I can't do it. I cannot blow her. So see, you get used to what you get used to, and I shaped my lips perfectly for mine. This is Ricky's. Let's see if we can blow his. I can, but I can only do that one note. This is way bigger. This is way bigger in Ricky's. Now, that makes sense why he can blow this so much better. He has a hard time blowing mine. Ricky has much bigger lips than I do. And this is it. I feel like my lips are just being swallowed up by this mouthpiece. But then we come to mine. But I can't blow the others. So I really think it's important to get your shofar and let that be your shofar and practice with that shofar. Now later on, look at, I love this. All the hearts, I love this. Sharon says, are the longer ones easier or harder than the short ones? I have heard that the shorter ones are more difficult. If y'all have a shorter one and a long one here, y'all tell me what you think. I've heard the shorter ones are more difficult. I've never tried to blow a shorter one, but sorry, I had to keep chapstick on. I've never tried to blow a shorter one, but I don't know. But I will tell you, when I got mine, I really struggled with it. I could not. I mean, even the fact that I was able to just do all that at once and then repeatedly do it a couple times, that's huge for me, because 2 years ago, I could blow it one time a day, and then I was like, so it really builds up your lung capacity. And now it's easy. I mean, I could pick this up and I could blow this all day long over and over and over, and I don't have a problem. Now, it's harder for me to blow the shofar sitting here on the couch, because I'm not used to that. I'm used to standing up and having plenty of room, and I get it set up, and I usually I'll pray for a moment, and then I'll take a deep breath and just kind of center myself, and then I blow my shofar, and it's strong. Let's see, what are y'all saying? To me, the shorter one is harder. My shorter one is harder and doesn't sound as good. Ren says she has a shorter one and it actually seems to take more air. I would agree with that. And Kim says, I need to get a long one because I haven't been able to blow our short one. Yeah, I probably couldn't blow a short one. The link above goes to my little Amazon favorites, and I have a link to one that I purchased. This one. This is from the link to this particular one is up there. And they come with a bag and everything. They're really nice. Jean has a short shofar and hasn't been successful. I do need to practice more. Thank you for the encouragement. Yeah, I would do it every day. When I started, I would just blow every day. I would blow my shofar one time every day, and I would build up and build up. Chuck says the ram's horn I have is easier to blow from the corner of your mouth. Now Tom McDaniel, he's in here. He's one of the admins. He blows his shofar in the corner of his mouth. Y'all look at YouTube videos and see what you find and see what works for you. There's different techniques and stuff. I don't have much here. I have very tiny lips, and so the middle is what works for me, and I've gotten really good with that. So I'm certainly not gonna change that. Yes, Jenny says it's all in the diaphragm, and that's why I need to be standing up. It's a lot easier when you're standing up. Thank you, Betty. Thank you so much. Joan can get one sound out of her smaller one. I love that, Lori. She said, breath going through a twisted horn and he makes our path straight. Annie says my dog got perked up too. How long is the one I have? I tend to, this one has my favorite people in here. This is about a yard long. Mine's about a yard long. Ricky's is just slightly shorter. Ours are all, I'd say, 32 to 37 inches long. Oh, that's a good idea, Donnie. He says, on your daughters, you need to move the shofar around to find the best spot for your lips. Now, that makes sense. So, see, that's another reason why kind of builds my case of y'all pick your shofar and play your shofar, practice on your shofar. That's why this is the one. I've been blowing this for 2 years. And for me, I'm not saying I'm a great shofar player, but for me, I'm really good at this one. I've gotten really good at this one. But I know exactly how to do it. I put it up to my lips. It feels natural. I know how to form my lips. I know how much air to blow. I've built up the lung capacity to be able to blow that. Now, we have a friend, if y'all, 2 years ago, we weren't able to do it last year. We had a fellowship picnic. And people came from all over the country who had been reading the Bible together in this group to get together, meet one another. We spent a whole weekend together. It was fabulous. And I want that to be an annual thing. We had to cancel last year's. So hopefully that'll become an annual thing. Y'all will get to, I don't know if that's a blessing or a curse, get to hang out with me and Ricky all weekend. But we had a wonderful time, and it was a great blessing for us. And Steve King, our dear friend, he was there, and he blew the shofar for us, and he is really good. He can get so many notes out of that thing, and it's always so strong and powerful and clear, and so he does a really good job with that. If you do come to our fellowship weekend, if we get to have it, we will have it again, and you have a shofar, make sure you bring it, because we'll bring the mountain down, y'all. That'll be awesome. We have it up on Montesano Mountain in Huntsville. You made my dog perk up. Yes, lots of dogs waking up. When I blow it in the evenings outside, I tend to blow it at sunset. You can hear every dog in the neighborhood. I mean, just like for miles, I swear I'm hearing dogs. It sounds like it. Dale says they put a French horn mouthpiece in the shofar, so that might work too. And Renita she blows out of the corner of her mouth, and she gets 2 notes. So let's see. Yes, Grace says it kind of makes it personal when you have your shofar. You know, I was thinking last night I was thinking, you know, when we were little, we lived in a neighborhood where basically we'd get up in the morning, get dressed, and leave. And you'd be out playing in the neighborhood all day. And then Mama'd call you when it's time for supper. Or you'd come in for water during the day, you know. At my house, they ended up finding an old water fountain and installed it in the backyard. So the neighborhood kids, we just go line up at the water fountain in our backyard. But wouldn't it be neat if you could blow the shofar and call your kids home? Because goodness gracious, people could hear that for miles. And so I think it's a very special thing to have from a biblical standpoint. I will tell you, there is we're going to be learning a lot about the Father's feast, the Father's biblical feast, which he instated and said are forever. We'll be learning more about those. And we'll be talking about how to keep them this year as well for those who feel led to do so. It's easy. keeping the Father's feast are easy. The world has convinced so many that the Father's ways are bondage and the world's ways are freedom, and the opposite is true. The Father's ways are freedom and the world's ways are bondage. But there's one biblical feast. It's called, you've probably heard it called the Feast of Tabernacles. A lot of churches used to keep this, and a lot of them are returning to it. It's also known as the Feast of Sukkot. A week, and it's the feast known as the season of our joy, and it is the best week of the year. Period. That's all. It's the best week of the year. We will learn a lot more about that as we move on. But during that feast, we generally go camping for a week. And state park campgrounds around the country will fill up. And I will never forget our first Sukkot. That's what we call the Feast of Tabernacles. I'll never forget our first Sukkot. We were out at a campfire. We've been studying our Bible and stuff. And we were at a campfire and it got to be sunset. We said, let's blow our shofars. And we got our shofars out and blew them. And when we quit, we heard a shofar from another side of the campground blowing. Like in response. Talk about goosebumps. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. Then when they quit, we heard a shofar from another part of the campground. And you're just like, you know, one day we're going to hear this sound. And Messiah's going to be coming back through the clouds. I mean, that's a pretty exciting sound, okay? But I never thought I'd have a shofar and be blowing it. How does the shofar help us spiritually? There is no, I want to be clear, and I understand what you're asking and everything, but there's no spiritual power in objects, in things. This is not going to summon anything or do, no, this is a shofar. This is essentially a trumpet, you know. It's a tradition. It's something that the Father tells us to blow and praise Him. So it's kind of like if your daughter was a great piano player and you loved hearing her play the piano, you'd say, play the piano for me. Play the piano for me. And the Father says, blow your shofars for me. Because it's the sound of triumph and joy and celebration. Sometimes it can be a sound of pain and crying out to Him. But it doesn't. He helps us. He is our help. And so, you know, I'm big on, I used to, I don't know. We do have to be careful with our symbols, with our things like this. This is, everything that we have should just be used to worship and give praise to Him. So, let's see. My neighbor's dog are not going to appreciate these suggestions today. Yes, everybody, y'all get some RVs and come on. Love the idea of a fellowship picnic. Yes, we do too. And I also want to tell you that when you do, if you do decide you want to keep like the Feast of Tabernacles and stuff, don't feel like you have to don't be looking to other people for how to do it. There's always a way. Okay? There's always a way. So the first time we were reading the Bible and we saw, oh, it's the Feast of Tabernacles and we're supposed to keep this throughout our generations, and you know, oh, let's do this, you know. Well, we didn't have an RV or anything, and we had never really gone camping, and Ricky had to work and I had to work. So you know what I did? I decorated our back deck. I decorated it like we were having a fall party, and we ate our meals out there every night for a week. We ate supper out there. We went out there. We did Bible study. You know, whenever we had a chance, there's always ways you can do it. So don't look to other people or feel like you have to do things the way other people do them. Look to the Father. Always look to the Father. Book open eyes on Him and pray and ask. And when our heart is wholeheartedly after His, He makes a way. He will make a way for us to follow Him. He will always make a way. So, let's see. I'm trying to read what everybody's saying. Y'all hang in there with me. I have to scroll a bit. Oh, I love this, Chuck. This is exactly in my line of thinking. He says, a couple years ago, I was walking in the woods at the back of our property, and my wife used her shofar to get my attention because I had been gone for so long and wasn't answering my phone. But I heard the shofar through the woods, and it was so awesome to hear. That is awesome. Thank you so much. Yes. Oh, that sounds wonderful, Dawn. I'm reading some. I'm seeing, make sure I don't miss anything. Oh, there's a lot of questions and stuff. Sorry, there's a lot of comments, not questions. So anyway, I hope this has been a helpful chat for you. I hope that you are encouraged. If you are watching this now, I'm so excited you're here, because the Father is calling you to study and know His Word. He has set you apart for Him. He has called you His own, and He is calling you to come to Him. And He's standing at the door with His arms wide open, and when we open that book, we're running into His arms every day. So I need you to know that there's no such thing as a coincidence, okay? You are here for a reason, and we are grateful to have you here, and we're so honored to be able to study the Word alongside you. Be encouraged. Show up every day. Show up every day. Don't get overwhelmed. Get excited, okay? Do not get overwhelmed. Get excited, because we've been called to be His own, and He is going to show us great and mighty things. All right? I love y'all. I hope you have a wonderful day. I was trying to think of what day of the week it is. I'm fixing to go start recording more podcasts. And thank you for being here. And let's grow together. When we find things in the Word we struggle with, when we find things in our life we struggle with, let's struggle them out with the Father. Let's take it to Him. Take it to Him. He will help us. Okay? He will help us. Our only hope is in Him. And so let's turn to Him. That's the never-ending stream of wisdom, of love, of grace. And we have to bathe in it every day so that we can go out and be His light in the world. I love y'all. Thank you so much. And we will see you soon on the porch. Bye-bye.